David here with Figboot on Pens, here with something that I've been waiting to get my hands on for a while. It's the latest offering from Galen Leather. Galen Leather is based out of Turkey and has really made a name for themselves over the last couple of years with some beautiful and unique products like their writing box and their messenger bag. I've reviewed several of their items in the past. What I have for you today is their Stack and Store pen and ink tray, which is a unique solution to something that a lot of folks wrestle with, and that is how to store your pen and ink collection. So what I'm going to do is go over the parts and the features of this expandable storage system and share what I care for and what I don't care for about it and what I feel can be improved. And there are a few things in both of those categories. In order to get a closer look at it, please join me over here at camera 2. So what I will do here is show you each of the individual pieces to this system and then demonstrate how they work with each other, as well as demonstrate what does and does not fit inside them. The pieces arrive in these boxes. They were very well padded as well. Plenty of protection from the long journey from Turkey. And then inside of this box, I know we have a bit of a strange angle here, but inside this box is the ink tray. And inside here we had a nice little coupon for a future purchase, a little personalized postcard. And then inside this little bag, we had some Turkish coffee, we had some Earl Grey tea, and we had some Japanese cherry blossom refreshing towel. And then also, most importantly, we have an evil eye, which is used to ward off evil spirits, which is very important. All the pieces I'm going to show you today are made from beechwood, which is fairly light, but also sturdy. And then this is the ink box. They're made by hand and they're not necessarily 100% precise and perfect. What I mean by that is you might see something like, this, which is a little excess glue in there or something along those lines. But, things like that kind of just remind me that this was made by hand and adds to the character a little bit. Next up, we have the tray that you can see here. And you can see here there's a little notch around the outside, and that's how it fits right in here. Now, you have a number of options when purchasing this tray. You could have one with a solid top, like this right here, or you could have it with a transparent top, which is doing a good job of reflecting my lights. Or you could pick one up with no top at all. Now, why would you want to pick one up without a top? That's because these trays stack, and only the top tray requires a lid. You see, here is a second stack, and that second stack fits right in here. And let me turn it to the side. And so you can see that they just fit right in here. And that I think this is a great idea because this is pen storage that can expand as your collection grows. So let's take a closer look at one of these trays. There is room here for 11 pens. And this inner tray is wood that has been flocked. Now, let me go ahead and take this out here. This is what the tray looks like. And you could also purchase an empty tray just like this if you would like. So if you just want some other storage, that you could purchase an empty tray. And then I believe you also can purchase these trays on their own separately. And it's nice that you could purchase these separately so that you can kind of start off with the right amount of storage for your collection or just part of your collection. I have certain boxes where I keep just certain brands of pens. Like a friend had gifted me a wood wine box that was converted into pen storage, and that's where I keep all of my Viscontis. That you can see here again what the top looked like with the clear acrylic. This isn't glass. And then also, again, what it looks like with the solid wood. I think they both look nice. Okay, now let's take a look at what fits in here and what doesn't fit in here, as well as a few additional quirks. In regard to ink, it will hold bottles up to 8.5 centimeters, which covers a large number of bottles. Let's just kind of go over some of the things that do fit. The 50 milliliter Diamine bottles will fit in there just fine, as well as the Monteverde bottles. The Pilot Oroshizuku fits well. The Mont Blanc shoe is a little on the shorter side, so that fits. The Ferris wheel press ball, as well as the Organic Studios. Let's see, the Visconti bottles fit in here okay, as well as the Colorverse. The KWZ bottles fit in here, as well as the Graf von Faber-Castell. Now, I want to quickly go over the things that, at least at this point in time, do not fit. The Robert Oster bottles do not fit. They are literally just a millimeter or two from fitting in here. It fits here in the box, obviously, but then when you get the tray in here, the tray is resting on top of this lid. Noodlers is another one that does not fit. The Troublemakers are a little too large, as well as the Franklin Christoph bottles. Now, under the ones that are obvious aren't going to fit, the Seitz Kreuznach is a very large bottle, and that's not going to fit, as well as the Ackermann bottles. The Ackermann bottles are too tall. Now, that's not to say that you couldn't store some of these on their side, which gets a little risky at times, but those are things that do not fit. Now, while I wouldn't have an expectation it would accommodate the Ackermann or the Seitz Kreuznach bottles, the Robert Oyster and the Noodlers are some of the most widely owned inks, and it's a little frustrating that they're literally just a millimeter or two away from fitting. I brought this up to Galen Leather, and they agreed. Their current plans are for subsequent production runs to increase the height of this box slightly in order to specifically fit those popular brands. Okay, on to the trays. Any pen up to 156 millimeters will fit, which is virtually all the pens in my collection. It is not large enough to fit a Namiki Emperor or a Danny Trio Genkai, but then again, not many storage options are. In regard to an ASC Bologna Extra Arco, it's just barely not large enough to do that. But these are very large pens, so I wouldn't necessarily have a reasonable expectation it would accommodate these. Now, the way this is constructed, each of the different configurations of the trays doesn't have the same capacity in regard to the girth of the pens it can accommodate. What I mean by that is that you can see here, this little area right here, that's what sits down slightly in the bottom tray in order to keep it secured, but it also just takes away a smidge away from how thick the pens could be in the lower tray. In a lower tray, a pen needs to be less than 17 millimeters in diameter in order to fit into this tray. And what pens fall into that category? A Pelikan M1000 will fit in here just fine. Same with a Namiki Decapod Twist. A Leonardo Momento Zero Grande will just barely fit, but it will fit. And a Sailor 1911 Large. This one is the sea glass version. But in regard to some ones that won't fit, this is a Ryan Krusak Legend 16. This one is just slightly too large. Same to go with a Visconti Homo Sapiens. It's just slightly too large. Again, this is for the lower tray. Same goes for a Sailor King of Pen. And then this is a Stipula Carbon Florentia, which was an exclusive for Goulet that is a little too thick. A Mont Blanc 149 is a little too thick for the bottom, as well as the Wancher Dream Pen. And then also a Conid bulk filler king size. So all of these over here are just slightly too thick in order to fit comfortably on the bottom when you have a tray resting on top. It just barely doesn't fit on there, but you can feel it's resting on the pens as opposed to resting on the side. And the same goes if you have the solid lid. The solid lid has that ledge that goes down inside here. And so you have the same restrictions in regard to size if you have this solid lid. So all of these pens over here don't necessarily fit well in the top if you use the solid lid. But interestingly enough, if you use the transparent lid, that while there is that ledge, there's actually some extra space here. So all of those pens will indeed fit here just fine if you have the transparent lid. So the transparent lid on the top section offers a bit more room. So let's take a look at the things that will fit in this top tray with the transparent lid on here. It's a little bit more accommodating. You can see here that I have the lid of my Namiki Emperor. It is very thick and it will fit in here just fine. I have a Lamy 2000. Then I have a pen 18111, and this is the Night Sky Sakura. I just love this pen. But with this branch roll stop here, it is just a little bit too thick. A Pilot 823 will fit fine. Same goes for a Sailor King of Pen. This is a Mont Blanc Hitchcock. This is a Leonardo Fiore Grande, which will fit. Now this is a Pilot Custom Urushi, and the Custom Urushi will not fit. And the reason being is just a little bit too long. This portion will fit, but the ends over here are a little bit too large, and so the inside of the edge does hit against those. And then we also have a brand new pen, which I'll be reviewing here very soon, which is the new Pilot Capless LS. And you can see here that it has a mechanism that is actually kind of quiet and not clicky. So somewhat quiet. And then you twist this and it extends, and then you twist it and it silently goes away. But we'll talk more about that during the review. And then finally, something that absolutely fits is a Shown Design Pocket 6. And you can see that all of these things fit in here. Well, actually, let me take out the two that do not. The two that don't fit, and you can see that all of these fit in here just fine. All of these fit in here fine. Oh, and another thing is I've also suggested to Galen that they increase the size of these trays just by maybe 2 millimeters, because I think that 2 millimeters would mean the difference between a lot more pens fitting in the lower tray as well. And they're open to that suggestion as well. Okay, what about price? I mentioned this before, but you purchase each of these pieces separately. The ink box right here is $39. And then a tray, and that tray with either a clear or a wood lid is $45. And then you can get a tray without a liner. Remember how I took that liner out? You can actually take it out. You could buy a tray liner or tray just like this. That one costs $37. And that they also sell these trays, but they were currently sold out, so I'm not quite sure what the price of that is. So in doing the math, if you wanted to get the ink box and a tray with the lid, including shipping costs, you're looking at about $110. Quality pen storage can be fairly expensive, but I feel the Galen Stack and Store system has a good balance between usability and a fairly reasonable price. On top of that, as your collection grows, you can also, let's turn on the side, you can also purchase additional trays. And this is rather sturdy, so you could stack quite a few on here. I like this system. The only thing I wish is that each unit was just slightly larger in order to accommodate some of the additional brands, and it looks like Galen will be addressing that in future product runs. But in the meantime, for what you receive here, I feel it is very much worthwhile. Okay, until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.